fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. I'm really grateful to have an opportunity to be here this evening because I would like to speak about something that is kind of important to me. And that is that there is a link between what you think and what you actually get done. This is very important. Now there's a Japanese proverb that says, vision without action is a daydream. Action without vision is a nightmare. So, how many times have we spent looking at something and saying, oh, I would love to do that. I would love to have that. I would love to see this. All these different things. Unlimited possibilities. Every one of us has them. Unlimited possibilities. And yet, how many of those possibilities do we have currently in our hands? Maybe not as many as we'd like. So, what is the problem? The problem is that we have been programmed to protect ourselves from pain. The only way we're ever going to get anywhere is if we go through the possibility of pain. But we've been programmed that pain's a bad thing. We should avoid it. We should get away from it. So we have to reprogram ourselves not to look at what is the pain that we're going to have to go through to get to a goal, or the possibility, which is even more scary, of what pain we have to go through to get to our goal. But what we have to really think about is, what is the goal? What is going to be the benefit when we get to our final destination? And then we can decide, are the possible pains, the possible struggles, the possible difficulties worth that final result? And if we focus on the final result, we may get there. But that also can be a painful thing, because we fear, and fear creates pain. But there is a way that we can kind of step through that. And one of those things that we can do is we can go through and we can create a roadmap to our goal. And every time we can, every imaginable fork in the road, we can look at it and say, well, what's going to be the possible difficulty here? What's going to be my problem? And then we look at the next step and the next step. Write out everything that possibly you can dream of that's going to be the bad thing. Now the problem is, a lot of people think, that's crazy. If I know all the bad things that can happen, how am I ever going to move forward? Well, it's very simple. Because you have them all written out, it's no longer a ghost lurking in the corners, ready to come out and grab you when you're least expecting them. But instead, what you have is a list of things that you know you might have to overcome. And because you know what you might have to overcome, you can create a second column. What can I do to make it overcome? If I'm going to have problems with money, well, how am I going to deal with that when it comes? If I'm going to have problems with friends and neighbors saying, you're never going to make it, well, how am I going to deal with that? And finally, you can make another column that what is going to be the benefit of overcoming that one little problem that might come along. So now, All those monstrous problems that were weighing us down like the world on an atlas back are now nothing but little forks in the road. And you already know the road now. So you can very easily travel down that road. So, my friends, fellow Toastmasters, my request of you is never let go of your dreams. Find your dreams. Realize what it is you have to do and how you're going to get there. And then, just keep moving forward. Mr. Toastmaster.
So at this time, before we move into table topics, we have an additional guest who came in. What's your name, sir?
Paul Hickson.
Paul Hickson, okay. All right. Can you pass the guest book?
And a pen?
I've got one, sir.
Okay. Good, good.
Okay, at this time, we move into our table topics. And our table topics master for tonight is Steve.
Thank you, Ray. All right, I'm very excited about some of the questions I've prepared for you guys tonight. Some of them are going to be edgy, some of them are going to be a little political, and some of them are really going to make you think. But for starters, I want to go with this question that segues perfectly from your speech, Lawrence. The first question is going to be for Cody. Cody, so what is the main reason? It is 2017, right? It's January, everybody set their goals. So I want to know, what is the main reason that people in our society can't seem to hit and maintain their goals throughout an entire year?
Well, a lot of people set goals, start of the new year. They've done some things in the past year that they're just not happy with, and they want a fresh start. But I think the biggest problem with that is they set a huge goal, and they have no training on how to get to that goal. So they start out, and I'm going to run 10 miles by the end of January. I'm going to run a marathon. They get out of the door, they run a quarter of a mile, they're hurting, their shins are hurting, knees are hurting. They do that a couple times, like, man, pain's is too tough, and they give up. So I think the best way to combat that is start small incremental changes in your life, and then over time, those small changes kind of have a compound effect, and eventually you'll get there. So start small and tackle one goal at a time, and build, a collection of good habits, and eventually you'll reach all the goals you want to achieve.
That was well said. I actually recently heard a quote that was, training for a marathon is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And so I thought that was well said, because goals are marathons, they're not sprints. So thanks, Cody. The next question I'm going to ask Tamby. Tamby, with the recent inauguration of our new president, I would like to ask you, what do you think is one positive thing that will come from the new presidential party and candidate, Tamby?
Fellow topic master, fellow Toastmasters, honored guest. As I talked about my political views a few weeks ago, I usually vote Democratic, and I know that may be a little bit edgy here and pretty much conservative in the South, but I am really trying my best to give this administration a chance. I really am, because I want to see what is going to go down. So to be honest with you, right now, I really don't have any expectations. I'm just looking and seeing what's going on. And if they want to appeal Obamacare, that's fine. The only thing I'm saying is, what do you have to replace it? I had surgery, it was a year ago this year, and pretty much without Obamacare, I would have to pay for it. So I don't mind repealing it, just what do you have something better? Something as good or as better. So I really don't have any expectations, but I am willing to support the president and just see what he does, not necessarily complain about it, but are you just going to repeal stuff just to repeal it and not have anything to back it up? So no expectations now, but I am looking just to see and support our president.
Very well. Thank you for that. That was a tough question, and I very much respect your answer. I think that's one of the greatest things about America is that even though we have differences in political views, at the end of the day, we can all come together and push towards a common goal of making this country better. So thank you for that. So for my next question, I would like to take a volunteer. Who would like to volunteer for the next one?
Can we hear first?
Remind me your name?
David.
David, all right, so a little less political question. So there was a couple of big games this past weekend, and there's an even bigger game, some say the biggest game of the year in 2 weeks. With all the different sports that are out there with the World Cup and the National Championship, the Final Four, what makes the Super Bowl the biggest sporting event of the year in the world?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. It's the commercials, of course.
Commercials.
If any of you watch those commercials, the advertisers would all agree that the Super Bowl is the time to put those $1 million per second commercials up there. I don't think what they realize is that probably 75% of all the people watching the football game are getting up and going to get their beer refill during those commercials. The halftime show, which they think is the greatest thing since sliced bread, nobody watches that. They say, but the ratings are through the roof. The TV's already on the Super Bowl. Of course it is. So everybody gets up, runs to the store, goes to get their cases of beer, their kegs, whatever they have to get. By the time they come back, halftime show's over. Everybody thanks God it's over. And they start to watch the game again. Of course, this year, I like Dallas. Here's what it is. Can't stand Tom Brady. Is what it is. So go Falcons.
Thank you very much. That was a great answer. I'm actually excited about the Super Bowl. I asked these questions. I've had the opportunity with work to actually go to the Super Bowl this year, which is great. So I'm really excited about it. So my next question actually is also Super Bowl related, and I need a volunteer for that one as well before I ask the question. One more volunteer.
I had my tough one.
Go ahead. All right. So the question for you is, if you had 30 seconds to advertise yourself in a commercial for the Super Bowl, what would you say and what would you do?
For the Toastmasters and other guests. I have 30 seconds to tell you who I am and what I'm about. What I'm about is just being open to what life has to offer to you and sharing that enthusiasm for life and letting everybody know that not only do we want to make America great again, but we want to make ourselves great again. And everyone takes on that mission to make yourself great, then America will become great. So we have a mission, and my mission is to tell everybody that you are not finished yet. You have a lot to offer. And I'm here to let you know we're waiting on you to deliver. That's my message to everybody out there listening. Step up. This is what Tupac said. He said, hold your head up, pump your chest out, and handle it. Okay, it's Toastmasters.
Awesome. Thank you for the Tupac reference there. I actually recently watched the movie NWA, and I was like obsessed with that movie for like 2 weeks. I watched it like 4 times. It's a great movie, so thank you. Final question. I won't ask for a volunteer this time. I will ask Maurice, this question. Change of topics a little bit. Maurice, excuse me. Get you guys confused all the time.
We're so much alike.
I know. It's the name. I know. If life did not have time in it, what would life be like without time?
Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, honored guest. What would life be like without time? I'm about to use the word time in my sentence, even though there's no time. If there is no time, you have time to do everything, but there's no time. Well, if there's no time, you don't have anything to worry about. You don't have to worry about how fast you would have to get your assignment done. So if there's no time, there's no speed, because time makes up the unit of speed. So if there's no time, there's no speed. There's no acceleration. Well, it'll be a weird world. I mean, it sounds great that you could do anything you want with unlimited time, but there's no time. I keep using the word time, but we're imagining that there is no time. So, in a nutshell, that's what it'll be with no time.
So that was my final question. I want to thank you guys for putting up with my ridiculous questions. And I'll give the lectern back over to the Toastmaster.
Okay, at this time, we'll move into our evaluation period, and our general evaluator for tonight is Julius.
Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, honored guest. At this time, we're going to move into the evaluation portion of the meeting. My job as the general evaluator is to evaluate the meeting. The meeting started on time. All roles were filled. We had some great table topics. I had a good speech. It was an inspiring speech. Took some key points away from that speech. And at this time, we will have that speech evaluated by Maurice.
Okay, I'll be evaluating Lawrence's speech. I'm not sure what the title was, but I just wrote down what you, difference between what you think. There's a connection between what you think and what you actually get done. Is that?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Think and do.
Think and do, okay. And I'll go out of the manual, in the project, how to say it. And it says, was the speech topic appropriate for this particular assignment? Yes. Did the speaker use simple, short, and clear words? Yes. Did the speaker use vivid, descriptive words that created mental images? Yes. Did the speaker use words that had more than one meaning or were inaccurate? Not that I know of, not saying that you did or didn't. I guess I did not keep track of that enough. Were the speaker's sentences short, simple, and understandable? Yes. Did the speaker use rhetorical devices to enhance his or her ideas? Yes. Did the speaker avoid jargon and unnecessary words? As far as I know, you did. Did the speaker use proper grammar and pronunciation? Yes. Was the speech purpose clear? Yes. Was the speech effectively organized? Yes. What could the speaker have done differently to make the speech more effective? Well, I wrote nothing. You seemed to get the message, you drove the message to everyone, to the audience, and drove it clearly. And what did you like about the speech? The speech helps to get the audience to move away from our comfort zones. Avoiding pain is staying in our comfort zone. Because in order to accomplish something, sometimes you're going to have to go through a lot of pain. Not necessarily physical pain, but going through a learning curve. That's sort of painful, depending on what you try to pursue or get into. So, I think this should be a ubiquitous topic.
Good.
And that is the evaluation of Lawrence's speech.
Good evaluation, Maurice. I'd like to add one thing. What I would have liked to have heard was a story of how you were able to use some of the same techniques that you mentioned to us. Whenever you can use a story in your speech, it gathers people in more. They can relate to it better if you can use a speech. I mean, a story or an example. But I took a lot from that. At this time, we will hear from our timer, Cody.
All right. So Lawrence's speech was 5 minutes and 40 seconds, so good job on that. For table topics, Tambi, you went 1 minute and 33 seconds.
Yeah.
I did 59 seconds. David did 1 minute and 7. Julius had 1 minute and 4 seconds. Maurice had 1 minute and 34 seconds. Maurice's evaluation was 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And that is the time report.
Okay, thank you. The time for table topics, if you want to speak for about like a minute to a minute and a half, one minute to 2 minutes. Anybody will go from the time constraints. At this time, we'll hear from our grammarian, and that'll be Helen.
Thanks. There weren't really many filler words, but as far as the word of the day, I only heard it once by Maurice. And then for the filler words, I think Julius had a couple of uhs. I think Steve had an Cody said, David, I think, had an and I said and probably like 10 times. And that was it.
Thank you. Very good. Okay, and that concludes the evaluation portion of the meeting. Back to the Toastmasters. All right.
At this time, I will talk about awards. As far as the communication awards, Lawrence has just earned his Advanced Communicator Silver Award. And he'll get his certificate in a few weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. And then most recently, Luke achieved his Competent Communicator Award, and that's the first level of speech or communication awards.
Okay.
So that is it for awards. Does the VP Education have an agenda for next week?
I do need to get somebody who will be able to fulfill the responsibilities of doing doing speeches next week. I don't have any speeches listed. You want to do a speech? Okay. I will. I'll set that up and.
Okay.
Let me see. oh, that's today's, I don't want today's. I get today's, I want this next week's. Sorry about that, take me just a second here. And right now, I haven't got a whole bunch hooked up. I would like somebody else to do a speech. Are you ready to do another speech?
I don't know.
Okay,
Maybe
work on
a
it.
speech.
Work on it. You can do a speech? Okay. I gotta write that down. I'm bad with names and things, so let me, what was your name again?
Katie.
Katie, you're Katie. Okay.
If you
Okay.
mind, number 2 of basic.
Okay. And which one are you gonna do, David?
3.
Number 3? And that's also on the CC, right? Okay, beautiful. Okay, I've also got, let's see, Stephen, can you do an invocation next week?
Yes.
I got Kedrick as an evaluator. I don't know if he's going to show up. I've got, is Mark going to be able to be online? Do we need to start bringing in
Well,
another?
I usually don't find out until
It's
the
too late.
day of.
All right, well, I have him down as an evaluator.
Okay.
I have you, you as awards again, but I can move you around, should be necessary. I have Katie as a grammarian, I'll have to change that. Justin is doing table topics. But, I got Ewing as a timer, Cody as a Toastmaster.
Okay.
That'll cover most of it for the moment. And you should be getting an email about those possibilities relatively soon.
Okay. At this time, if they don't mind, I would like to have the guests just to give a brief introduction and their reason for coming to the meeting and what their specific goal may be.
Also, whether they, if they could, tell us how they found out about us.
Okay, and that too.
Okay, so do we stand up or just?
Yeah, you can stand in place. Yeah, you don't have to come to, you don't have to come to, you don't have to come to the lectern.
Okay, my name is Cheryl Lassiter, and I work for the federal government. I'm lead chemist for the National Seafood Inspection Laboratory with NOAA. And even though I am a supervisor, I'm a bit of an introvert, so this will help me to talk to you guys and see how you communicate with others. And then also, my husband, Dennis Lassiter, who Maurice knows, had a stroke, and it was a right brain stroke, and he's a little bit difficult sometimes to reason with. So I need to learn better ways that I can communicate with him and get some practical reasoning over to him. And then just any help that I can be to you guys. So that's it.
Thank you.
So my name is again Paul Hickson. I'm a resident physician over at USA Family Medicine. This is my first year of my training. I went to College of Medicine in South Alabama and undergrad at South Alabama. So I've been in Mobile for quite some time. And my goal for coming tonight is to improve my communication skills, because I feel like, I have something important to say, and I want to be able to communicate in my work and in my work relationships, medical information, which can be, very valuable to patients, to their families, and between colleagues as well. And I heard about this Toastmasters through my boss at work, Dr. Ehab Malopia. He's a program director at USA Family Medicine.
If there's nothing else, I will relinquish the